What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
I'm just clocking my 3 words in the intro. As we had discussed.
Your 3 words versus my how many words?
I don't know.
Maybe about 15 words.
More than that, I think like 40 or something.
No, you know, 15
somewhere there.
I realize it's so autopilot now that I don't think my mind is even like thinking when I say the intro.
Yeah. I don't think so.
It's just going.
Because you're quite quick to interrupt me even when I'm doing the yalla but. I barely finish and you already like interrupt really.
Because if you never want to wait for it to, it's all the principles of editing, what Terrence. If you wait for the bar to finish, then I think it just makes it less enticing.
You're like the guy at the karaoke, like other people try to sing their part and you just have to sing over them. You're the guy at the concert that like you're trying to listen to the music, then you're singing in your ear and all.
Oh no, but that one I fucking hate lah.
Okay,
I hate it. No, that's why for karaoke also, like unless I'm drunk, I never have fun.
Yeah. Basically, you don't like karaoke, clubs, having like steamboat restaurants, places you have to cook yourself. There's a
somewhat true lah. Somewhat true lah.
I'm just trying to remember what places do you like other than like standing in the sun with your hand in the car,
like bars where you can hear yourself talk and think. Clubs
which doesn't exist. So bars are always noisy.
No, right? But clubs, if I'm at the good level with a good amount of alcohol and I'm like, oh okay, the music's good with people I like, still can. But it's when it's a small group in a like where you go there like 2 or 3 people, then I'm like, what the fuck is the point?
Essentially, when people cannot hear your voice, you don't like places like that.
Oh, I cannot hear my own voice. I cannot hear my own voice.
As long as people can hear your voice, it's a great place. I had a great time.
No, hotpot, you can hear my voice, right? It's just then it's not about the conversation anymore. It's about you put in like some chicken, then you have to, while talking, you have to think, oh shit, am I overcooking the chicken and shit like that?
So it's like places where people can hear a voice and they can devote their full attention to you.
That's the best.
That's the most important thing. If anyone
cannot be doing anything else.
I will assume your wife will vouch for that as well.
Hey, no lah, yeah, so that's where we are. Middle of the week. Yeah. Middle of the week, Terrence.
Yep. Middle of the week. It's a fun week, interesting week. And even more, we're talking about quite interesting things also that we don't usually talk about.
Yeah.
And it's quite I think it's quite interesting.
And one big piece of news that came out this morning was that the 41 people trapped in the tunnel in India all released. I think that's the biggest highlight for the week for my mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's been so emotionally invested in it. And then like today she's just happy.
To be honest, I've not actually followed that news.
That's one thing that's interesting, no? Yeah. Like it wasn't covered that much by global media, which was a bit weird given that the last time there was the Thai cave rescue.
Yes.
That occupied mainstream consciousness for quite a while.
When they created movies and TV shows out of it.
It was trending on Twitter and all that. So I was a bit perplexed also. Because it's 41 people. They were stuck for 18 days.
Yeah.
I mean, the threat of like them coming out, I mean, it was in the Himalayan mountain. So I was very surprised that it wasn't that widely covered.
Are you baiting me into
talking
about making me about race?
No, but I am saying like it was just I'm not so sure why also. Because even when you want to get updates and all, you go on Twitter. I mean, Twitter, I don't know how big or like X is in India. But yeah, the coverage was less than I expected.
How dire was the situation? Like the Thai cave rescue was like
that one had a ticking clock.
Ticking clock, high chance of either being flooded or like just running out of oxygen and whatever.
So this one, to be fair, I don't think it was as dire because they were in a 60 meter by 40 meter area.
Okay.
So they could move about. Yeah. It was just that every attempt at drilling through, the machines kept breaking. Because literally this is part of a huge project by Modi to connect certain pilgrimage sites. So this is drilling through like a mountain.
Okay.
So it was one of those cavities that there was a landslide. It got blocked off. And they were receiving like food and all.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't like the Thai rescue. I think that one there was a monsoon coming and shit like that, right?
So that's your answer right there. Yeah.
But even then, like it still felt like with everything failing, there was a risk of this going on long, and it's cold, no? is like single digit temperatures. So not say it was like fucking resort or something also lah. Yeah,
but
so I don't know.
But yeah, just hearing it sounds like it's an engineering issue rather than anything else. Like
you're trying to gaslight me, is it, Terrence?
I'm not trying to gaslight you. I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying and responding. These kind of things I typically get quite into them as well. But this one I was like, it's like, a tunnel. I heard about tunnel thing.
I know.
It's like the Chilean miners, right?
Yeah,
but that one was also another level of danger also. Like, I mean, they were like deep underground. And obviously a mine sounds like a much smaller place than what you just mentioned.
And that was 69 days. They were there for 69 days. So this one, I still think it didn't get as much coverage as I would expect for something like this. So I don't know. Maybe like
race lah. Obviously it's race. Obviously,
Not saying that, Terrence. Not saying that. I'm just saying that. I remember when even looking up for updates and all. Yeah, you had to go to the news channels out of India that were covering it, but not so much. There will be mentions elsewhere lah. I don't know. Huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're all out. They're safe.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're all out. No problems, right?
No problems.
Quite quickly, a few days only, right?
18 days.
18 days.
It's quite quickly. Fuck you, Terrence. Quite quickly.
Honestly, I only maybe read about it like yesterday or this morning.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Like it's a bit weird. Like how there were these 41 people where their lives were at risk. Right.
Is race is obviously because of race.
No, cannot be lah. Like I don't know. It just felt a bit maybe because there's so much other news out there that is overshadowing. I don't know.
Possibly Palestine.
Just I mean, in case anyone is listening and not trying to gaslight me, and thinking, oh shit, I had that same thought. Yeah, curious.
Okay. Well, good for them lah. They're all safe.
They're all safe.
It's just I think our discussion was more about will there be a Netflix documentary about it?
I'm sure like some Hindi movies coming out already or something lah.
Confirm Bollywood.
Yeah. Bollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But yes, but we're here to. Kind of related to what we are also going to be discussing in our first topic as well, like big engineering projects that could change the face of Singapore and all that.
Yeah.
But before all that, what do we need to tell people?
That if you enjoy this podcast, if you're enjoying this current podcast or any other podcast in the past, it would be great if you could share it with at least one person. And follow us on our social media and the podcast channel. So subscribe on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and just turn on notifications so you know whenever there's a new episode.
Yeah, especially because I think we're in the light of the end of the year and all, we're taking stock of all the things that we're doing for Yalabat on social media. So probably big changes coming up soon.
Yeah. And probably some big guests coming up in the next few weeks.
Hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
These things.
Fingers crossed.
They have a tendency to. The more you hype them up, the more likely they just fall apart.
That's true. Yeah. And if you want to work with us, you can email us at contact@ministryofunny.com. Sweet. All right.
But yeah, let's jump right into it, man. What's our equivalent of the big construction project that everyone's talking about or not talking about in Singapore?
It is the possibility of something called the Long Island of East Coast, which is not an entirely new thing, but it was recently announced while the Minister for National Development, Desmond Lee, was giving an event, speaking at an event at East Coast Park on Tuesday, November 28th. He announced that there will be the start of technical studies into the concept of Long Island, which broadly is just like a huge ass piece of reclaimed land off the east coast of Singapore, specifically like East Coast Park and all that.
Yeah,
that will be around 800 hectares which is about 1,142 football fields. So the studies will go on for like 5 years, and there was some artist impressions of what it would look like. Basically, if you imagine, like without seeing a visual, you have East Coast Park, and then you have like 3 or 4 islands that, I don't know, like a kilometer or something in front of it that turns the current bay of East Coast into a reservoir.
Basically, it's almost like they're building like a wall, right?
Yeah.
Just out of East Coast Park.
Yeah.
To create, an artificial reservoir.
Yeah.
and that wall also can have like facilities on it and have parks and even like developments on it.
Yeah. It's like if you take the C in East Coast and you make it a D, it is the line that turns a C to a D.
The C to a D.
The C has
D. It puts the D in East Coast. East Coast Park doesn't have a D.
It turns East Coast into a D.
I see.
Yeah, it turns East Coast into a D. That line, that line that turns it into a D.
I see.
Yeah.
But it is something quite it's not like it's not just a simple announcement. There have already been artistic impressions, artist impressions and stuff like that of what it might look like. And it's quite shocking, right? I mean, considering East Coast Park, if you're familiar with East Coast Park, it's basically like East Coast ECP and then some grass and maybe a couple of like restaurants or whatever, or East Coast Food Village, East Coast Lagoon. And then it's basically sand and then water already. That's always been my impression of what East Coast, that stretch is, right?
Yeah.
And all. But now, it looks like there's going to be, like a reservoir where there can be water sports and then more developments and greenery and then the sea.
Yeah.
So essentially it's taking it takes the sea out of the
East Coast and turns it into a D.
Yeah. C to D.
C to D, man.
But
and this concept, like, I also found it damn surprising when this came up. That's why I thought, it is damn interesting to talk about. But it was actually first talked about in the concept plan back in 1991.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the URA all the way back. It was in view of the impact of climate change. It was already called Long Island. And then it was presented to the public during Lee Hsien Loong's National Day rally in 2019.
Yeah.
Around the concept of climate change and what we're doing. So when you first saw this without even diving into the details, what came to mind? Like, were you excited? Were you like, see another case of gentrification and all the shit?
I mean, first question that obviously came to my mind was this part of the East Coast plan?
Oh.
Like, was this... Did he know that this was part of the plan already, Because, it is quite surprising.
Yeah. It literally is an East Coast plan.
Yeah, it's the East Coast plan. But you didn't know that they were changing from East Coast Park to East Coast something else, right? I think that was my first big thing. But it seems like what you said, it's always been the works or the consideration of it. The second part that jumped out to me was the name, Long Island. Because it's, in New York, there's already Long Island, New York, right?
Yeah.
I think a whole other city aside from Manhattan, the urban city that we know about. Long Island, New York is like a place. And I'm thinking we already have Coney Island, which again is from New York also, Coney Island, New York, right? And now we also have Long Island, like the name that we share with New York. So it's like we've got Long Island and Coney Island, which will be shared between both Singapore and New York, right? Now I'm just thinking, couldn't we have come up with something a bit more original that people won't mistake for another place, right?
Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like, Dubai, they have the Whirl,
the
Palm.
Yeah.
This is like the Satay. Right? Satay Islands.
Yeah, Satay Islands.
Satay Islands, why not?
Yeah. Something a bit more local, a bit more. I mean, like that the Google, when you Google it, it doesn't give you a location in New York, right?
Oh yeah, because I'm guessing when you were doing research also, when you Google Long Island, East Coast, it's literally Long Island in the US is on the East Coast of the US.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And it's New York and everything also. Same as Coney Island,
Oh.
Yeah.
Somewhat, it is East Coast, Long Island. That's true.
Yeah. So I wish that they'd be a bit more original in the naming, right? Yeah.
I guess maybe because it was the same name, I think, back in 1991. I'm assuming there will be some sort of naming competition.
I hope so. But Long Island is a nice name, right? And it tells you exactly.
Yeah, where you stay, Terrence? Long Island.
Long Island, yeah. It's a nice name, very cosmopolitan sounding, everything. But I would wish that we just have our own identity rather than be compared to someone else. Yeah. But how about you? Like, how excited about you? Because you are an Eastie. You've pretty much been Eastie your whole life. This promises a lot of disruption in the concept of what the East is as well. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the Far East. And then now I'm a bit more Center East.
Okay.
But this is somewhat near to where okay, so first of all, this is a super long project.
Yes.
The technical study is 5 years.
Yeah.
For this to even start will be 10 years.
Decades.
Then to build anything on top of reclaimed land, it'll take another 20 years.
Yeah.
So then I found it partly now I think because Singapore's so small, anytime there's this talk of this new huge development, I won't deny a part of me is like, okay, we're going to get even more crowded, more cramped.
Yeah.
But it is also inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So there's always like this knee-jerk reaction. And then I started thinking, hey, actually this is quite interesting, especially because of the reasons behind it. Because at first I thought, okay, it's just to free up land. But the bigger reason feels like is that this is in view of the rising sea levels. And then I was thinking, but like why do you need to build so much more just to protect against the sea levels? The reality is, I think Singapore right now, about 30% of us are under like 5 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
And if from what I understand is like by 2100 the general sea levels in the world will go up by 1 meter. And with tidal surges and all, it can go up from like range between 0 to 3 meters. So there's very little buffer.
Yeah.
And in the event of like rising sea levels, a lot of Singapore is low lying. In East Coast, I think it's probably where the houses first start sprouted up in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
So then I was thinking, okay, and there was an option which was called, I think, the long gates or something. There was another name for it. Basically to build new walls up to 3 meters high along the current East Coast Park.
Yeah.
And then have like 12 tidal pumps to pump out water in the event it does flood. This one is just saying that, okay, let's still preserve East Coast Park, build this entire development as new, but within it already factor in these higher walls. And then build the houses or commercial properties above that. Then I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So then I found it just an interesting case study, especially because this is really future planning.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, that said, there were some CNA videos about it where they interviewed businesses along East Coast Park, like those that offer water sports or the East Coast Lagoon Food Village and all that, which incidentally I just was there over the weekend. And I partook in cycling, those family bikes. I ate at East Coast Lagoon, stood by the beach and, looked at all the glamping opportunities there. There's literally like glamping options there now, right? It's beautiful. It's fun. And it's a real throwback to the days of being a kid and coming to East Coast Park. And it's still the same. It's sand, it's water, it's, beachside living, right? Doing the same thing, cycling. This changes everything. Those memories that you had as a kid and memories that you probably now have as an adult, like even going on dates or whatever, they'll be gone. In 30 years, it'll be a figment of the past, right? A ghost of the past. Don't you feel sad about that, though?
Yeah, I do feel sad. But that's one of those things, that's part of that whole knee-jerk reaction. Even now, the place where I'm living, in front of me, there's a huge ass field. And when I moved in, it was brilliantly empty.
Yeah.
It was, then got these 4 trees in the middle, and it looked like, this is amazing. Then now it's like construction non-stop.
Yeah.
There's a huge development coming up in front. And of course, I'm like, now I'm like the old uncle near my house. When I walk down, I see this new BTO coming up. I'm like, all these young people are making everything so crowded. So I become that old uncle. But then I think in Singapore, it is inevitable that there's going to be more shit like this. And then when I remember the history of Marine Parade itself, the whole, I think, Marine Parade estate, HDB estate, is all on reclaimed land.
Yeah.
And I remember once because my mom's family was from Malaysia and they spent some time in Singapore before separation, or like shortly after we separated from Malaya. And they used to live in this small place along Seaview, which is the East Coast. And the reason it's called Seaview is because it did have a sea view.
Yeah.
And then the whole Marine Parade came up.
Yeah.
So this feels like, okay, this is this same thing happening, but in our lifetime. So to me, I'm like, fuck. If it really has to happen, then it has to happen. But I do feel sad. Sad. Because I think East Coast, same thing. I also, even though right now it's a very manufactured park and all, there is a lot of sentimentality there. And I think it's just nice to look into the horizon, even though it's all just ships, but it's just the horizon. So this one, I guess that will happen on the beach side of this new thing.
It's like when remember McDonald's at East Coast Park, that one, the iconic one, when it closed down and all. There were people, I think this was, 5-10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And there were people rushing there because that's where they went on dates, where they met their partners in life or spent a lot of time as kids with their friends. Yeah, there's this nostalgia that comes with it, right? But yeah, I mean, it shut down. People made noise, but in the end, 10 years later, we moved on also, right?
Yeah.
To create new memories elsewhere and all.
Yeah.
And things like the National Library, the old National Library last time, had to be torn down to make way for I think an overpass plus some parts of the buildings for SMU and stuff like that. So we moved on, right?
Yeah.
People they've created art around that building. I think there was a Japanese anime that created something about it and all. But people move on.
But that's the sad thing about Singapore, right? It's like in a land-scarce place like Singapore, how often can we really preserve stuff? Of course, we get like all those UNESCO heritage sites. We have, what's the term for like shop houses? What? There's a heritage site or something. Is it a heritage site or some term for it?
Yeah, heritage.
Which really needs to be maintained. But I think that is, unfortunately, the way it is going to be in Singapore.
Yeah.
At some point, every old piece of land will just be destroyed, Darren, and taken over by new shit.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, the good thing is like, and this is like having just been at East Coast Park over the weekend, it's not that you are destroying like buildings or developments that have been there for like decades, right? In fact, I will argue that area is quite minimal disruption already. If you have to vacate all the people who are currently there, it's mainly all these water sports, bicycle rental shops, lagoon, village, and a bunch of other businesses, right? But I think in terms of people living there and creating memories and all that, actually is not as many. Yeah. So in some sense, I hopefully we can see it in our lifetimes, right? 30, 40 years, whatever. But it might become a very vibrant part of the coastline, right? A bit like how, even parts of Sentosa right now, you walk along, you can say it's very capitalist and all that, but it's still a much more enjoyable walk now than it was like maybe 20 years ago or what, right? I think the quayside, that part especially, with all the boats. Of course, it's like, rich man's playground, blah, blah, blah. But you can still go there and enjoy a walk there, and it's very beautiful and nice without having to spend a lot of money or what. So,
yeah, that's true. But on that note, like, I also hope this whole Long Island thing doesn't just become like an elitist playground.
Like Keppel Bay kind of thing, right?
Yeah, or like the reflections, because then that would suck. Because I do hope it is a mix of like public and private housing, residential, so that the nice thing about East Coast Park right now is that it feels very accessible, right? Yeah. Even if you don't live there, you can go there, you can sit on the park, you can enjoy yourself. If this one, especially for like these Long Island things where there's almost like an entry point, right? You can designate entry points.
Yeah.
Then if it becomes gazetted and all, that is when it's like, yo man, don't do this.
Yeah.
Because you're literally taking away what people can experience now, which is the edge of Singapore, and almost like putting it behind a gate.
Which is parts of Sentosa, the quayside.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can walk along there, but there's certain points where it's like the best view from the quayside is behind like a gated community.
Yeah, exactly.
And that kind of annoys me that they couldn't like create a park or something that's more public that is outside of the private areas.
Yeah.
That people can still access. So you walk up to a certain point, then you see some probably expatriates, doing yoga in their private little...
Just like a fence between you and them, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. It's gated, right? It's not, that means it's not accessible to the public.
But then think about all the money launderers. They also need a place to stay, right?
Everyone needs a place to stay.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, correct, that I'm really hoping it doesn't become like this gated community that's only accessible to people with money. Of course, there will be private developments in there.
Yeah.
But that's where you're planning, you can put public parks and accessible areas next to it. Because the thing I hate most when I travel to other countries or so is sometimes the concept of the private beach. Obviously, it's nice to have the beach to yourself in the resort and all, but it always makes you feel like, wow, how does it feel as a local when you see people, foreigners just doing the thing in their own private beach, and you are not able to access the place, even though it's your country and all that, right?
Yeah. And I mean,
it always irks me.
And also because this one, the beach right now is public, right? Then if you're basically at a concert, you got the best tickets ready, then these people just come and stand in front of you. And they take what you had, which was the unblocked view of like Taylor Swift,
But doesn't that go against what you just said?
What?
Because these people paid for the best view, and then like these people who never pay any money, the general public just come and then they have the same view. Wow, that makes you upset. Doesn't that go against what you just said? Just been talking about?
But I mean, they technically still have if they want to move.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know like no. So the thing is like right now, especially for bro, good point.
Yeah.
Because
I guess what you're saying is that it shouldn't be just because you can pay, then you get the 100% best view, right? It shouldn't be that way,
Am I saying that? Yeah, no, as in like it should still be like because like right now are there along this whole stretch, I don't know whether there are like HDB or public housing that will I think they are. Oh yeah, actually no, they are. The whole of Marine Crescent, Marine Terrace and all, right? So then if what becomes in front of them is fully private, then that is like literally taking away something that was more publicly accessible to private. Of course, you also get a bunch of condos along East Coast. But in that sense, I know some arguments for this is also that, especially for, when people are thinking about all the freehold property there, if you are banking on 50 years down the road, your property price continually increasing, without a sea view, will it lose any value? But then with the rising sea levels, then the risk of water coming in and flooding is also going to be an issue with regards to your property prices, right? So I think it goes both ways. The main thing is I hope this adds to the the things that the general public can enjoy as opposed to takes away from it.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about marine life. Marine life is going to be affected for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how sad do you feel about that? Or you just like, whatever, man?
Oh, so I remember my point just now before I go to the marine life.
Sorry,
basically, what I was saying is that for people who go to the beach now, they have an unblocked view of the sea. But not even the people staying there. But the thing is, if this thing comes up, that was where the analogy of like at the concert, someone comes and stands in front. Yeah, because right now you don't need to pay to enjoy a sea view. But in future, if that changes, then that's not fair. But yes, the marine life. It sounds like there will be a shit ton of impact.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I think I read some stat that about 60% of Singapore's coral has already been lost to reclamation. And I think over the years, slowly it has come back.
Yeah.
But it also has to come back in forms that are not a 3-meter crocodile. Because if you're a 3-meter crocodile, you come back.
Yeah, sorry.
Too bad. Yeah, too bad.
Yeah. You didn't pay enough money to camp there.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the marine life, do you think there's a huge risk there?
There is, but I mean, Singapore has had a track record of like, big risk marine life. We'll do our best to get around it. And I mean, the truth is there are realities to the fact we are land scarce and everything, right?
Yeah.
And I think the people take bigger issue when you destroy big masses of forests as opposed to sea, right? Because maybe you don't outside out, but you don't see like what's in underwater as much. Right? There definitely will be impact on the marine life around the area, and but hopefully it also gives. I think I was seeing like some interviews where the conservationists were also saying that hopefully it gives opportunities, right, to create new areas for marine life to thrive also. A bit like how otters, have sort of made Singapore their home, right, and become part of the fabric of our the animal life in Singapore also, right? And now you see chickens everywhere. So do you notice? Everywhere is chickens. Everywhere. They're almost like I used to only see like maybe one or two and be like, whoa, hey, look, chicken. Now it's like,
everywhere.
Well, it's chicken cross the road, whatever.
No, then apparently in the stretch between Tanah Merah and East Coast, like there's one species of turtle also that hatches there quite often.
Yeah,
and that's awesome. So in this case, like what you said, one thing that I did read somewhere also is that when they're thinking about the interface between the open sea and whatever development this is, there will be more thought that could be put into being more environmentally friendly. Of course, that's more thought. Hopefully that comes to pass. But I know during these technical studies, according to even the website, the URA website, there is going to be a lot of feasibility studies, and they're inviting members of the public, like the non-profit organizations, environmental groups to participate. And there's literally a link there where you can sign up.
Yeah.
So I think if you feel strongly about it, you just need to
speak up.
Speak up, man.
Yeah.
Speak up. And I mean, the URA website actually is quite interesting. They got like the whole identity corridors, which that's what it's called, the 5 identity corridors. You know, Terence, what they are?
I have no clue.
It is just like that whole walkable streets and all that. There's the Thompson Kallang corridor, there's the rail corridor, there's the inner ring, Southern Ridges corridor, and East Coast. So they're all called the identity corridors.
Wow.
Terence.
Nice.
So interesting lah. And then the Long Island. Oh, so the other option instead of the Long Island was another equally creative name called the Long Wall. The Long Wall, which is where they build up walls around the current East Coast lah. They are 3 meters high.
Yeah.
But that was feel like a prison, yeah. And then there's shaping a heat resilient city. So interesting lah, because these things are all going to be like 50-year plans.
Yeah.
So in our lifetime.
It's quite a challenge to think of time in like 50 years, because it's beyond, maybe even beyond your own lifetime, right? And that's where you got to make this cost benefit analysis for the next generation of people.
Yeah, man.
Like what it would be like for your kids to grow up. Hey, let's go hang out at the East Coast Reservoir, that kind of thing.
Long Island.
Long Island, yeah. Let's go hang out Long Island, drink Long Island tea and everything.
Terence, that was how long you been waiting to say that? Yeah.
No, it just came to me. Yeah. I just tried. That's another reference on Long Island. And now you take on a very different thing. A Long Island teh tarik.
Yeah, that's no, but must Pulau Panjang teh tarik. Pulau Panjang teh tarik. But they need to change the name lah.
I hope so.
They need to change the name.
But new ways of doing old things. That seems to be a very common theme these days, right? We don't rest on our laurels and do things the same old way.
Yeah.
And that even applies to Cai Png.
Yes.
And why is there now a little bit of a ruckus about one particular place that is serving Cai Png?
Because so it's this place in Alexandra, and they recently got a lot of pushback because they offer 42 dishes, right? And when you go to order, you see them lined up in trays and all. But they've been getting backlash because customers are having to pay like $10 to $20 for their meals.
Yeah.
Because when you choose an item, they actually charge by weight.
Yeah.
And it's a standard cost. 100 grams of each dish is $3.98. So they've been getting blowback because people are saying, hey, how come Cai Png so fucking expensive?
Yeah.
And then the eatery, they say they are not a mixed rice stall. They are actually a Chinese restaurant. And they're called 100 Grains.
Yeah.
And they only opened 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they serve 42 dishes and they got like pickled bullfrog and stuff like that.
Frog legs or so.
Yeah. So
don't forget the rice, porridge, and drinks are free of charge.
Oh.
Yeah. Free flow, free of charge.
Yeah. So it was just interesting, because the title of the article. Okay lah. So the title article is 100 grams for $3.98. Chinese restaurant in Alexandra raises eyebrows for charging dishes by weight. There's no mention of Cai Png lah. But what made you want to talk about this, Terence?
I think because people are unhappy. The Google reviews is like, I think of the restaurant now is at 2.9.
Oh, is it?
2.9 stars. A lot of people are unhappy with the fact that there's sticker shock, right? They're very shocked by the final price. And but the restaurant owner is doubling down, not say doubling down, but he is defending it, saying that They are not a Cai Png restaurant. They're not economy rice restaurant. They are a restaurant with a very different kind of business model, which, remember when we are speaking about the Alaskan crab fiasco that happened a few months ago, where a Japanese tourist reported to police that he felt he was scammed by a restaurant that served Alaskan crab, and he did not know that the price was so much because they went by weight, right?
Yeah.
So you take that and then you apply it to Cai Png, right? Yeah. Which we are so used to. You point at this, you point at that, you point at that, and you pay based on what dishes you choose. You don't pay based on the weight, right? Whereas this one, they've taken the model of you pay for the weight. I mean, you can see exactly what you want. You take however much you want, but you pay based on the weight. And it's all uniform, regardless of vegetables or what. So the restaurant probably has done its own calculations okay, this is how much 100 grams of, frog leg or what I can put out there, and how much it will cost, right? Versus 100 grams of some long beans or whatever. So they've done the calculations, they've done the measurements and what works for them as a business.
Yeah.
And now it's the consumers coming back and saying, hey, this is almost, I mean, in some ways they're almost saying it's deceitful, right? They thought it was self-service economy rice. It's supposed to be economy rice, means it's meant to be cheap.
But do they market themselves as self-service economy rice?
No, that's the thing, they don't. They say they are a Chinese restaurant that goes on this model of charging by weight, right?
Yeah.
So people are complaining about it, and I guess the debate here is should you be complaining about it or should you just be reading the fine print and understanding better?
Yeah, because actually the interesting thing is which I discovered only when we decided to talk about it, is that it's self-serve, right? So and that's where it's actually quite an interesting model, because you're saying you pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
We won't measure the rice because that's free flow. We'll just measure, you can even choose 20 different dishes, 1 tablespoon of each.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, we just pay. So, but, okay, so this is where also the websites that cover it, I'm looking at this article on one of those food review sites in Singapore.
Yeah.
It literally says this self-service Cai Png cafe in Alexandra has 60 dishes to choose from and free flow rice. And if you look at the picture, I mean, it is a restaurant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is a
sit-down
cafe restaurant. So when people complain, I don't know, man. A bit hard to empathize,
Yeah. No, because, to me, it's you talk about transparency of the prices and all. To me, this is actually a lot more transparent than the Alaskan crab situation we talked about. Because is there 100 grams costs $3.98? You take what you want, but you just know that the weight of it is like that. Of course, you could say, maybe what they should do is provide a weighing scale for people to sort of understand how much they're taking. Then that one is, I think, is a process issue, right? But overall, in terms of what the business model is, in some ways, it's more transparent than even when you sometimes go to a nasi padang store, then you order 1 meat and 1 veg, and then it comes out to $17 or something like that. And you don't know because the meat was some special thing that they prepared or something like that. I think that is less transparent than this. This one, you know exactly how much the price is already, and it's up to you to gauge based on the weight, right? So I actually don't find that big a deal, and I don't understand why people are complaining about it. Considering also that a lot of times you go to a Japanese restaurant or a Korean restaurant or what, you pay $16, $17. That's for a dish, that's almost normal. Like a ramen, $16. People pay those kind of prices.
After you finish, you're still hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
But these people are comparing it to the Cai Png that you find at kopitiams or thing. When I don't think it really is. Maybe how it was written about in a article could have been stated differently. But also, maybe that's not the fault of the restaurant either, right? That's the most clickbaity title that the writer of the article or the food reviewer could find, because people are familiar with Cai Png. But the restaurant itself it's a restaurant, right? It doesn't pretend to be a Cai Png stall,
Yeah.
With an auntie that you point or point rice, right? An auntie who serves you when you point. No, it's self-service. The price is there. I feel it's transparent, right?
But maybe that's one of those things when it's too transparent, also not good.
Why?
I think it's just human psychology. Also because, okay, so this is where one of those things okay, let's say if you were setting up a restaurant, Terence, and you wanted to serve 60 dishes of your people's cuisine.
Yeah.
Right?
My people's.
Your people's cuisine.
Singaporean cuisine. How about that? Singaporean.
That's what I meant. What were you thinking?
My people's.
Your people's Singaporean.
Sure,
Singaporean cuisine. How would you how would you market it? Or like, how would you think about the arrangement or like the way you do? Would you? So what I'm getting at is that when they were setting up this cafe, you think they were brilliant enough to know that, okay, if we do this, there will be backlash. But honestly, now I want to try the restaurant. Because I mean, the food looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You think they
and
were
it's quite exotic, quite exotic dishes you can get that you wouldn't normally get at any typical Cai Png place.
Exactly. So then you think they were brilliant enough to know let's kind of like put a twist on the Cai Png concept. Yeah, there'll be people who complain, but it'll market the restaurant. Or whether it's just an innocent thing. They're like, okay, we have 60 dishes, let's display it in the most like simple, minimalist way possible, which almost replicates like a Cai Png stall. Because in some sense, if you are attracting people who are expecting Cai Png and then kind of like hammering them with this meal price, is that are they wrong to do that? Because you're almost marketing something, like building on, like leveraging the understanding around a certain way of eating or a certain dish, bringing in the customers, but then hitting them with a price.
That one is a bit hard to say, right? Because I think the Cai Png restaurant, what makes a Cai Png restaurant, right?
Actually, Cai Png means what? Like Cai Png?
Rice and vegetables. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cai is rice, vegetables, and Png is rice, right? So rice and vegetables. I think what are the elements of a Cai Png restaurant, Cai Png, whatever, that makes it a Cai Png place? I think one big part is the auntie. There's an auntie there who serves you, right? Because there have been literally people who've written about how to get more rice or more food from a Cai Png restaurant by even by the way that you point at a dish. Apparently, like if you leave your finger pointing there longer, they apparently give you more psychologically, people say. And you know, they say to, you know, whether to get meat or to get veg first, that also matters. The order at which you point at the dishes matters. So I think that play between the Cai Png auntie and yourself, that's a big part of what the Cai Png restaurant is like. The moment it becomes self-serve, like and all that, then that to me is no longer so much Cai Png already. The idea of there's no pointing at something for someone to take for you. So I would think of this more akin to a buffet, like a more buffet kind of style, or even like compare it more to the mala kind of style, where you have to be very conscious of how much ingredients you're taking. And I would say that's in the last 5 to 10 years, Singaporeans have gotten more familiar with mala already, and the fact that if you take a lot of things, even as vegetables, it can be very expensive, right? So I wouldn't say that they are being deceitful that way. In fact, it's closer to a mala store kind of model than it is a Cai Png store. To me. No,
actually, that makes sense.
I don't know whether you feel that they are being deceitful, like trying to market. Because I think your point is that they are like taking advantage of the fact that people are familiar with Cai Png and they might not know that, there's sticker shock, you know.
Yeah.
Sticker shock. Like they might not know that, they might have to pay more for certain things. But I feel like what they are doing is more adapting the mala business model for what Cai Png is.
Yeah. I mean, I think even as I was saying it, it was a bit tough to convince my own self. Because in one hand, they, like what you said, they're very transparent about the pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you check out on your own, there is a weighing scale there. I don't know whether like in the middle you put one dish, you can weigh a bit, or you bring your own weighing scale. You know those kitchen weighing scales you put. You're like, okay, this one I only want to spend like, I think there's a minimum $10 or something. So there are ways to be a lot more accurate about it. But yeah, like what you said, mala, or even the precursor to mala, yong tau fu
yeah.
You know, like I've been hit when I order yong tau fu, then like $12. Fuck, but you know it's on you because they say 7 pieces is this. Anything above that will be like, so I don't think yong tau fu or mala has gotten backlash for like being exorbitant.
Like in fact, yong tau fu is a good parallel because like they put the pieces there, right? Let's say they want sausage or what, but they will cut the sausage in a way that it makes sense for them economically, like whether they cut it into half or what. Then you take one piece of that half, that's considered a piece, right?
A piece, yeah.
So they've really done their own internal calculations of what constitutes one piece already.
Yeah.
So in some ways, this is also this is closer to that yong tau fu model, than anything else out there.
Yeah, and that's why I'm curious. Like even when the articles write about it, they said, "Oh, okay, we settled on like, a plate with mapo tofu, century egg, steamed egg with shrimp, stir-fried mushrooms, blah, blah. And the cost of our plate amounted to 21.15. It was shocking, we know. But I mean, like, so that's where, yes, if it's a restaurant, if it's a cafe, if the size portion is good, you get free drinks, free rice. 21.15 for 2 people, no?
Yeah.
It's like pretty decent in the modern Singapore, right?
Yeah.
So that's where, in fact, I think this restaurant is pretty smart.
Yeah. In fact, I would say that this kind of like business model appeals to a certain kind of diner, right? The kind that likes to try a little bit of everything, right? I don't know. I'm sure you know people.
So basically,
like
girlfriends and wives.
I never say. Oh, okay. I didn't want this to be about a session for Harish to complain about his wife and all.
Hey, no.
Okay,
I'm talking
going there. So is that your experience with your wife when like she just wants to try a little bit of everything?
I mean, I wouldn't say my wife lah, but people in my life lah.
People you've dated. Wink, wink. People you've been in official relationships with, wink, wink. Like how many of them?
But go on, Terrence, go on.
But yeah, there are people who want to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like just a tiny morsel. They don't want to like commit to like one a big chunk of a dish, which is a lot of time. Like, I'm that commit to a big chunk one.
Yeah.
To me, it's like okay, the type I order this, give me a lot of it. You know, like even if it's not good, at least let me. Like, like a bit like Netflix, watch 3-4 episodes, then you say that you don't like it. Don't give me that half an episode and then tell me you don't like it already.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there are some people who really like a little bit of everything. Are you the one? Which one are you?
I'm the first.
A little bit of everything.
Oh no, the one that I would rather, big chunks. And that's why like the first initially, I know when I go out with friends and all, then it's like, oh, let's order a bunch of dishes and share, right?
Yeah.
I was always like
tapas is what I cannot take it.
You also, right?
I cannot tahan tapas.
I cannot. I think I've grown to like it. I mean, there's smaller people, sure, but I just want my own dish, my own world. I can just deal with it and no external influence.
But tapas, I cannot take tapas because by the time you realize, hey, this is nice, I really enjoy it. It's finished already. Then you're like, bloody hell, I have to pay buy another dish just to enjoy a little bit more of it.
Yeah, and because tapas is small, right? Like one piece of garlic, roasted garlic, and then like everybody gets half a piece of garlic or some shit like that.
Then you like little cut it up, like you feel like those. Like when you watch like the Pianist, there's a scene where they take out this little candy and then they cut it up into 6 pieces. Then each person in the family. That's how I feel when I eat tapas.
But tze different lah. Tze the sizes are a bit more lah, right?
You mean dim sum or
no, like tze. You buy.
Tze is family sharing. It's big portion. In fact, most of the time there's always everyone got a paise piece lah. Then I usually not paise. I just eat.
But I think when I was younger and like when we eat with our cousins, everybody's growing up, so everybody's ravenous lah. The moment one plate comes, you have to whack, right? Now when I eat with like my extended family or like in-laws and all, typically I'm the one eating the last few pieces.
The most.
Yeah, so then I'm cool. Then I don't need to worry like, okay, I'm not going to taste everything. But yeah, I'm like you. I prefer you just give me these 2-3 things. I can just my own like bubble.
Then dim sum you okay?
Dim sum okay also lah. Like I think now I've gotten to appreciate it more. And also knowing that like when just so happens in the groups that I eat now, like normally we will order enough or like there's no like Royal Rumble like every man for himself kind of thing.
In fact, because dim sum like a lot of times the dishes come, that there's 3 pieces of this bao here. Okay, you want, so everybody get one? Okay, then you decide.
Take 2, you fuck off.
Yeah, you fuck off. Hey, you asshole, why you going to take 2? Now you go and buy the next one. Dim sum I think is clear, but the problem with tapas is sometimes it's like you order, then you don't know there's just one sliver of a fish or something. That's the part that I don't like.
Yeah. So I mean, but I've also become better at dealing with that in age. So for you,
dealing with not being an annoying person at the table.
Sharing.
No, I'm that guy who complains about tapas. I think I am.
So that means this kind of place, like you don't need to be able to taste like 11 different things, lah.
Yeah, to me it's like I prefer to I commit to like 3 or 4 and I know that sizable amounts for me.
Because if you taste a little bit of everything and you really like one thing, then you cannot scratch that itch.
Yeah. Your stomach is the size of a fist. That's all. That's as much food as you can squeeze in there already. To me it's like you commit then either you like or you didn't like the meal. Don't try to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and like even if you get 3 that maybe you don't like, you make it work lah.
Make it work.
Make it work. Yeah. Whereas if you try 11 different things.
Yeah. The funny thing is in the Google reviews I saw like people are saying one tip is don't put all the sauce lah. the sauces.
Oh, the weight, is it?
The chup, man. Don't put, because the
chup is the weight.
The gravy adds the weight.
What the fuck, man?
It seems like there's techniques to like make sure that you get the best bang for your buck. So,
But the reviews actually, not very encouraging.
But overall, I don't understand. Or at least maybe I don't get why people are so upset or by the prices and all that. Not saying that it's cheap by any standards. But you would pay, a lot of times you go to restaurants, you would pay the equivalent for just one dish or so, right?
Yeah.
A pasta or a Japanese meal or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's just people going with expectations of Cai Png.
That is Cai Png, meant to be Cai Png prices. And I'm like, even you look at the pictures, it's not a Cai Png kind of place. That's like, and I've seen apparently the systems, you have to get a seat first, then you can go and queue for your food.
Oh.
Which I actually like that. I appreciate that a lot. There are places I go to where they enforce like you can only buy your food if you
have a seat.
Or you can only have a seat if you've bought your food. Which I'm starting to see a little bit more of. And I appreciate those places because you and I are not fans of the chopping system, right? Which I find very inefficient, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate this restaurant also enforcing that kind of rule. So who knows? Maybe I'll go and try out this restaurant for myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Give it a good review if it's good.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because even I'm reading one review, super duper expensive chup fan I'd ever tried in my whole life.
Yeah,
chup fan is
I think it's a certain dish lah. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Chup fan. Yeah.
I mean, I think that also refers to like gravy rice or something.
Oh, gravy rice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, chup fan. But yeah, so I mean, 100 grains, Alexandra Road. Yeah, maybe I'll go and try.
Isn't it like? Isn't there that the Angmo mixed rice restaurant called Grain also?
Yes,
Grain,
but
right?
that's Angmo mixed rice.
Not say mixed rice lah, but it's like you can choose what dishes you want, and then I think the people in the CBD eat it a lot. Grain or something like that, right?
I think it used to be for consumers, but then I thought it went all B2B,
okay.
like meals on demand, meal plan, as well as catering.
Okay.
But yeah, Grain at some point they did do that, but not anymore lah.
Yeah. And I'm sure those were not cheap lah. Those were not Cai Png prices also. But you never heard?
No, like Daily Cut lah.
Yes, Daily Cut. I think maybe I was thinking of Daily Cut. But when you say 100 grains, I thought of Grain. But yeah, Daily Cut. Isn't that? I mean, like what? $15, $15 per for like rice and dishes.
Expectation. You get rosemary roasted chicken, You get like sous vide egg, Terrence. Doesn't matter you got like bitter gourd with egg. This one sous vide egg, $4. No problem. No problem.
Pay.
Yeah.
And then the person serving you must wear like a denim apron.
It must be jacked. Either jacked or got tattoos.
Then I will pay $4.
Then fucking tattoo premium, man. Tattoo premium. Tattoo premium. Yeah, but
isn't that classist? More classist than racist than anything.
Is the expectation. I mean, this thing, looks cool, man.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
Funny.
Yeah, man.
But speaking of people's comments and all, we focus on the more positive ones.
Yes.
What is your one Shiok comment?
Do you have yours?
I need to pull mine up.
Okay. Wait. Yes. So let me just pull up. So there was something on Reddit posted by I think a new Reddit commenter, Yarden. Yathen. Oh no, Yarden.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went with the Indian accent. Yarden. So basically they were watching a CNA documentary, and there was one part where the chef said omelette. And then he or she commented that maybe I might not be alone. I just need to find more omelette users. Of course, the first comment was that's just not right. Tisk. So basically, I think somewhere else on our Reddit also someone highlighted that the omelette discussion. Like apparently like the omelette is like a British way of saying it. I don't know, but even the other day when I was with my my in-laws, I said, why don't we get the omelette? All of them were like, what's that? They're like, guys, I'm part of your family now already. That's how I say omelette. Okay, but
But I mean, you are the minority in that.
Yeah, minority, correct.
So will you conform or
no? I won't. I'm going to double down.
You're going to double down and risk upsetting your in-laws and everything.
I wouldn't say upset lah. It just it's fodder for conversation lah. Fodder for conversation. But that was my one shot comment from Yaden.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Also, I think a new Reddit, or at least first time we're featuring a comment. Captain Black Chest on Reddit was commenting on that episode that we did about the law for president holding international roles, which was episode 460. He says, I quite enjoyed this episode. As a fellow Singaporean concerned about where supermajority is heading towards, I can't help but feel concerned. And he says that, it's not just about in parliament. It happens everywhere, in schools, in the workplace, where the loud majority makes a decision. So he's saying that we need to be more vocal and have strength to present a differing view. If we get shot down, then so what? We share our real thoughts and sleep better at night, regardless if we're ridiculed or made a target. So welcome to listening to the thing. But yeah, I think that's a big point about our podcast, right? Like we, encourage people to, listen to what majority views are, but also think about, okay, the contrarian side or just the opposing side, and weigh for yourself whether it's whether you believe it or not. And I think we're all better after having discussions like that. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not illegal to have your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. It's what you do with the thought sometimes that can be illegal. But never stop thinking.
Yeah, never stop thinking.
Yeah, never stop thinking.
That's right.
What about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing is actually just sort of adding on to something that I had as one Shiok thing, but I did not actually experience. And now I experienced it. I can say that, people should try it. It's actually the Squid Game reality show. I think I had it as a one Shiok thing just because we knew the person who was participating in it.
Singaporean guy.
Yeah, so I actually said I'll watch episode 1 just to see him in it. I watched episode 1 and I did not see him in it. I couldn't find him. I really looked like in the background and I did not see him at all. But ended up the show was pretty interesting watch also lah. I've realized what's quite interesting is that they really play on the obviously the challenges, the games are fun, right? And like it's kind of pays off. Like if you've watched Squid Game before, then they play the Dalgona game where they have to lick the biscuit and try and make it wet so they can cut a certain slice of it.
Yeah.
But like for example, there was the drama there where people got to choose which shape that their team will get, right? And everyone knows that the umbrella shape is the hardest, the hardest to do. And it is the hardest, right?
Yeah.
So they get people to choose which shape they get. And if you don't manage to choose, then you all get eliminated at one go, So there's a lot of there's a dynamics of that you see people really arguing with each other about these things.
But you mean the teams argue with each other?
Yeah. About all these, the team leaders argue with each other about who chooses what. And you see a lot of American-ish playground politics. The jock, obviously gets his way, and then the quieter guy doesn't, and then the sassy guy argues with the old lady about things and all. So you see that very American reality TV stuff going on in a very Korean TV show context. So it's I wouldn't say it's the most entertaining thing, but given that everyone, almost like the whole world, was quite invested in Squid Game at one point in time, there's a lot of payback, payoffs to the things that you watched there.
But do you agree with what some of the comments about how it took itself too seriously?
In that sense, I mean, kind of cheesy, right? Like the whole thing is kind of cheesy. Like they built the whole set of like even the staircase, the crisscrossing multicolored staircase. They built that and were like escorting people through. But it's always interesting to see how people in big groups interact with each other. And sometimes you have preconceived notions about who certain people are, and then it's surprising. I think the show does a pretty good job of surprising you. And I think one thing that one element that they took from the show that feels very present in this reality show is that the randomness of some of the eliminations and all that. Reflection of what life is like, right? Sometimes it's just random that you die and stuff like that. Yeah, they have that aspect is very clear and present.
So are you going to watch the second episode?
Yeah, I've already gone and watched 3 or 4 episodes.
Oh, is
already.
it?
Yeah. It's not one of those things you really need to concentrate and watch all the time, but you can have it playing while doing stuff.
How long is the episode?
I think an hour or so.
Oh, shit.
And they introduce new games also that weren't in the original series. That also, no spoilers but very random in how they eliminate people. So
wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. My one Shiok thing is this channel that I've come across called Natalie Lynn.
Okay.
She's an American, I guess, filmmaker kind of thing.
Yeah.
And her YouTube channel has been around for like 8 years. And at first there were like pranks, and slowly it moved towards more like vloggy stuff. And then I think last year she had one video. I spent my life savings to travel in a van. And after that, there were like 7 videos every few months about her van life
Okay.
And I actually thought it was very nicely filmed with a mix of like stuff that I can imagine she's shooting with her phone. Got some Casey Neistat influence also. But it was very calming, kind of talking through how she decided to embark on the van life thing, looking for the van. And the way it's shot is quite cinematic and nice. So I chanced upon this because
cinematic,
man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why, Terence?
Huh?
Why, you don't think I'm a cinematic person?
No. It's usually, you don't normally talk about like YouTuber, the visuals cinematic, very nice and all that.
I don't talk, or people don't.
You don't talk about that, right?
Yeah, so people can change, Terence.
Yeah. So I'm sort of like laughing. Oh wow, we've reached that stage where Harish is like, he wants a chill, like what's the term? I think slow living kind of thing.
The Huga, is it Huga?
Is it Huga?
Yeah, Huga is a Danish term for slow living.
I don't know, but yeah.
And I mean, like, it's creatively filmed, and it's a mix of like just screen grabs from a screen. And I chanced upon it because I saw, and one of the newsletters I subscribed to, they were saying she's holding a live event for the 8th episode of her van life series called Borderless.
Yeah.
But I just thought, oh shit, I always like finding some new channel where I thought, actually this is quite interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, Natalie Lynn.
I like. I've been recent years I also like this kind of YouTubers who don't necessarily. It's not about productivity or like being the best or hustling and all that.
Yeah.
And it's just this is a slice of my life.
Yeah.
But also packaged in a very nice way, cinematic way
and unique
Yeah, then you can just follow them on the journey. Yeah. It's calming when you watch it.
Yeah, it's calming.
You don't walk away like, okay, call to action. I need to do this and this in my life, that kind of thing.
Or you don't think like, oh shit, what am I doing with my life and shit. Yeah. So So yeah, it's cool.
It's compared to like you watch a Mr. Beast video, it's it's entertaining and everything, but you feel like
it's like a drug.
Yeah, something is missing. Wow, the guy with that $10 million lifestyle is awesome. Like wow, I wish I could participate in a competition and win like $10 million or so.
Yeah.
They got the aspiration.
Or if a YouTuber, you're like, wow, this guy's video overnight got 50 million views.
His life is so great.
Yeah.
Whereas these are like really sort of like, okay, this is my life and get a slice of it.
Just chill.
On the surface, Scully behind the scenes is like, wow, a whole team of people calculating when people react to certain things. Then I would just say, you duped us again.
So I mean, interesting. Yeah. So check it out.
Natalie Lynn.
Singaporean
or?
No. US.
Okay.
Cool, man. Awesome. That's all for this episode. As always, follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, social media, our subreddit, which has an awesome community, and email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com if you want to work with us. All right, everybody. Thanks and peace.